This is DearMamaSal, and I'm hoping that you can see this. I have a feeling that something went wrong with the previous start of the broadcast, so we're going to do it again, see if that works for people. And hopefully that it will. I think I know what happened. Right. Hi there, Jamie. Yep. All right. I think I made a boo-boo when I started it previously, so forgive me. Yes, Becca, I think I accidentally had it on private instead of public, and that's why it didn't send you a link, and I do apologize for that. I didn't know that it hadn't sent it out until somebody wrote and told me that, which is you, so thank you. Hi, Jamie, Becca, and Jody, welcome. All right, so just to start all over again, I will disconnect the first one. Let me just do that now so that people don't get confused by it. Hang on 1 second. Well, actually, it's on private, so people can't get to it anyway. That's what was wrong. I think I accidentally had it on private instead of on public. Hi, Charlotte. Oh, well done, Charlotte. Charlotte saying that she did her personal best with really 75 to 80 kilometer winds. Excellent. Really proud of you, Charlotte. And I really want to say that you continue to mesmerize me with your dedication to this, that you do it every year and the way in which you do it. I was just saying that I don't, today what we're going to be doing is a number of things. First thing is I've got a couple of handy hints for you, but I've also right behind me here got, whoops, if you can see them, 5 cubies full of shoes. And can you see those rolled up bits of paper? Those are a couple of things I found that one of them was quite a shock to me. I didn't know I had it. And the other one took me a little while to work out how I got it. And so, but it's got some serious memories. It was written back in 1995. So that is pretty, it's interesting to look back and go, wow. Yeah, I want to tell you something, Becca. Cubes are the best thing in the world for organizing and for keeping things tidy. I really, that and the other thing I like, as you know, are, hang on a second, let me get them. Oh, that's great to hear, Charlotte. We love being the wind behind your back. This is the other thing that I really work on. These are old envelope boxes, and they're so useful for storing. Like on these, I've got corner frames for my artwork. I've got photo paper and small mats to go inside frames, and then I've got a box here with old computer programs in it, which probably can go now. But that just is a really neat, tidy way to keep them. And I'm realizing, that there's certain boxes that are really well shaped for keeping things in. And as I think some of you have seen the pictures I've taken, I keep all my tissue boxes. And I just paint the end of it so they all look the same. The end and about 2 inches around the side, all the way around. And then I stack those up because they're great for throwing in things like, pencils and pens and whatever. But there's, you can just throw them in the top. And then, I've got one that contains different fragrances, for example, for room fresheners. I just don't have to worry. I just go to the cupboard and there it is, all marked beautifully. So it's a really good idea to keep those tissue boxes. If you don't already, you'll be surprised how much fits into a tissue box. So that was one tip. Now, the other thing was that when I... Good night, Charlotte. Thank you for being here. They've always been there. Becca, they have always been behind me. They have been there for 10 years, I would think. So maybe I just haven't moved so that you could see them. Yeah. I've got pictures to prove it. So this is something I wanted to tell you. This is not what it probably looks like for those of you whose minds are wicked. What I talked to my realtor when I last saw her about fragrances. And one of the things that she said is the fragrances that really work well, contrary to the fresh bread type thing, are a mixture of cinnamon and vanilla. Did you know that? So what I've done is and this is a really simple way if you are interested in doing this. I have a coffee mug warmer. You know this, just you literally put your coffee cup on it and it keeps your coffee warm. And yeah, I'm just saying what the realtor recommended. So I think vanilla and sandalwood's also a very nice combination. So what I did was I just put on a mason jar, and I've thrown in a couple of cinnamon sticks, and then I add a little bit of I add a little bit of vanilla essence. And I think in here I also added a little bit of allspice, because allspice is a cooking smell, right? And then what I do is I leave it on my cup warmer for a day, and then I will just pour some of it off. And I just literally every couple of days I pour some off and use it. So I thought I'd share that with you. The other thing I want to do, any of you have a problem with earrings oxidizing? That's what I wanted to ask. Because I did find a really good way of stopping that from happening. Now, the chances are, if you're normal, you've got all your earrings sort of thrown into one thing like this, right? And I went to go and get some pink earrings for today, and I realized that I had one pair of earrings in a plastic bag. And these earrings were made the same time as the other earrings that I have in here. And they are absolutely pristine. They haven't oxidized at all. So here's what I suggest. Go to the dollar store and pick up some of these small little baggies. They're in the craft section. All right? And just put your earrings into plastic and seal them. They've got little sealed things on them. And then they won't oxidize. Plus, it's really easy to find, both of them. So now that I've discovered that, I'm going to make myself some more earrings and then do that with them this time. So I thought you might like to hear that. Yeah, it keeps the air away from them. All right, because they're inside a plastic bag. That's what I think. So I thought you might like that tip. The other thing is I've got a syringe. I've got a syringe I've got a number of syringes in my life that I use for all the wrong reasons. But this one is the one that by the way, I decant stuff out of here and then I squidge it into my various places where I've got, where I've got room fresheners. So that's what I wanted to show you. Hold on. Squidge, yeah, just a squidge. It's all right. So the other thing is, if you're going to buy an air freshener, buy this one. This is the Airwick one where it has this little bottle inside. All right. Now, the reason I like this one is because you can take this top off. Just put a knife underneath the edge of it. I haven't got a knife here. Maybe I can use an earring. All right. And just literally pop this top off. Could break an earring this way, but okay, I need a knife. But you get the idea. You just pop that off, and then you can put your cinnamon mixture with your syringe. Just put it in there, and it's, if you, I reuse my. How many of you got Febreze ones? I reuse my Febreze ones and put stuff in. Okay, but this one, I want to tell you of all the different room fresheners I've had. This one takes three AA batteries, but can you see the blue light? Oh, you can see it. Can you see it? And it just does that every, you can set it for every 9 minutes, 12 minutes or whatever. So, and then whenever it comes on, it turns blue like that. But I really recommend this one because it's refillable, which I like. All right, so here we go. What else have we got? Any other news updates? Becca, any updates? Jody, I know that you had a difficult night last night, and I'm trying to understand what exactly is happening. Because, I saw the note that you sent, and I'm going, I sort of get that you had a really difficult night and that something went wrong, but I don't understand what, all right? Is this just that every now and then you get this sort of wave of pain, or try and word it so that I can understand it better? I thought you'd given up working for the time being, Becca. It's good to hear that you went on an interview. I'm pleased to hear it. Are you still doing the grief counseling? Good girl. I'm pleased. It may take a while, but I'm really glad that you're doing it. It's, it'll help you in a lot of ways, I think. And did they recommend that you start looking for a job again? Yeah, really. The grief counselors, obviously it's up to you what you do. It's your life. But they do have a lot of experience on, when they think you are psychologically ready to start re-entering the workforce. And it's okay. So here's what Jody says, just so that you can hopefully understand. She's saying, it's like an allergic reaction with my legs. I get intense itching in both legs. They turn bright red, hard as a brick. Yeah, I know that feeling. With huge welts. The itching is insane. It's from the lymphoderma. So it's a bit like my psoriasis. Hi, Erin. Hey, Erin, give us an update, honey, if you will. Because we really would love to know how you're doing. Okay, so you decided to leave the one job and started interviewing immediately for another one. That's confusing to me. But if it works for you, that's the main thing. Hi, Alice. Good to see you. So what I've got is a number of things. One of the things about downsizing, and I thought I'd get you to help me downsize some shoes, because it really made me laugh when I looked at them, and I thought I should do that with the peeps. But before I do, I went down into the storeroom and found some stuff that's been there for a long time. And the first thing I found was a big roll of very good quality paper. And I opened it up. Now, the reason I had this very good quality paper is I used to plan my workshops out. Do any of you know about mind mapping? It looks a bit like this. Hi, Beth. And so this was a mind map that I did. I guess it must have been in the 90s. And I just thought I'd read out some of these things that are on here and let you know how many of them I achieved. Would you be interested in that? And I had them in different categories. I am healthier, financial security, I have integrity, I am worthy of riches and happiness. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you in a second. Okay, so what you do with a mind map is you start off with, for example, I started off with a smiley face of me. Right, Becca? Can you see that? It's difficult for me to hold it and show you at the same time. And then let's say I am healthier, right? And then underneath it, you start putting down what you want to achieve. And for example, I had all sorts of different weights. And by the way, the weights I was looking for back then were in the 150-pound range. That'll tell you everything you need to know. Yeah, thanks, Alice. Do that. All right. And so then here, under my financial security, one of the big things was my goal was to own my own beautiful home. Well, you know, I did that. And then to be out of debt by 1996, I was. And then, of course, I owned my own beautiful home and went back into debt again because it's mortgage time. I have integrity. The interesting thing was the major thing I said under integrity is be who you are. How many of you have realized that now, that being who you are, instead of pretending to be somebody you're not, is the best integrity you can be in? And whether people like you or not isn't the issue. All right, let me try and read what... hi, Triona, good to see you. Right, hang on a second. Let me see. Right, Becca was saying, okay, got that. Yes, Alice, let us know what's going on. You know, in the meantime, what can we do to support you, Alice? All right, so Erin's saying, I don't really have to go to the doctor tomorrow to get my pump filled. She has an internal pump that pumps out medication for her to try and straighten out my blood sugar mess. But her pressure sore has closed. Yay, well done, Erin. You must have been looking after yourself. Yes, Beth, it's nice to think that in 1995, whatever it was, I weighed 150 pounds, but that's a long time ago. Okay, so Becca, a mind map, basically, it's a really good thing to do, and you can do it on a small piece of paper. But you just basically put a goal, or this was my whole life, so I had different areas of my life, right? And then you just start mapping out. Now, for example, I said under the I am healthier, right? Then let me get there. So I said I am healthier, but then I asked myself, what would that look like? And so what I said was, I eat better. My weight is 150 pounds. That was my goal. I was actually at 160 when it started. I give up smoking for good. This was back in 1995. It took me 10 years. I relax more, and I get enough sleep. It took me a long time to learn those things, right? So, but do you understand that? And then, Becca, what you do is you say, okay, what does eating better mean? And then, break down some things under that. Now Beth will tell you that she's learned that actually preparing her food so she doesn't just go for impulse grabbing of food works really well for her. All right, but here's another one, Becca, just so that you can see. This is one that I did with someone else. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see all the little areas there? But this was a guy I was in a relationship with. And I thought you guys would be interested in doing that for those of you who might be in a relationship. And, the things this is like really important for your better half to know. What does a relationship look like to you? What makes a good relationship? And for me, I had the words under relationship, that the important things in a relationship for me was loving. And by that, I actually put words to it. By that, I meant considerate, compassionate, understanding, supportive, and sincerity. That they had humor, because that's really important to me. And that they were witty, that they lighthearted, and they didn't take things too personally. And then they were good at communication. That they were appropriate, open. They did so out of respect and from the heart, that they were honest. They communicated often, and they were spontaneous in communication. How many of you know that that's something that we lack a lot in relationships? And then togetherness was another category I had. And by that, I said, I mean that we're democratic. We come to a we solution. We have joint objectives and goals, not all of them, but that we both are heading in the same direction. Understanding, we maintain individuality. We have our own personal time. And to me, being tactile, I'm a toucher. I find that's really important in my life. So do you understand what a mind map is now? And it's big. But it can be done on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I just thought you would like that, to see that. That was done. By the way, what happened to that relationship? Not much. 2 years later, he was gone. This was part of a workshop that I was doing. And obviously, it was an add-on piece. I had a first piece, and then this was the add-on. Yeah, Alice, good to see you. And we're glad to hear that you're okay, honey. So I really recommend, how many of you do set goals for yourself? And how interesting is it to be able to go back 20 years later and more, right? 22 years later, and be able to look at it and go, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. All right? So I think it's really nice to do. I would like to suggest that doing it at least once a year is a good idea. So that's really awesome. Now, the thing that really shocked me was what I found this tube in the back of the storeroom, and I went, what the heck is on there? And it is dated. It was shipped to me in 1994. And inside was something I did not expect. I don't know if you can be able to see this. Oh, I had a 50% chance of getting that right the first time, but I got it wrong. Okay. Hang on. I just don't want to damage it, and you'll see why when I unroll it. It's big, so you won't be able to see it all, but look at this. It is a signed poster of Wayne Gretzky. And it is actually as a height chart. Now, I really can't remember ordering it or getting it. Yeah, it's way cool. And I think it actually, oh, I know. You know something? It's actually got some staple marks in it, so it wasn't an original. All right, this wasn't an original. That's what I wondered. This is a print. However, how many of you know that even as a print, this is worth some money to people who are big fans of hockey? So it's going right back into its safe, very hard container, and I will deal with that another time. But I just went, I got a signed poster from Wayne Gretzky. I'm going, really? Now, do any of you remember Ben Johnson, who was a Canadian runner who won the Olympics for a couple of minutes before they did a drug test on him, and then he was banned for life? I have a signed poster from him as well, and that was original because he stood next to me and signed it. Okay, so what we're going to do, I thought you guys could help me here a little bit. I've got 5 cubies with shoes in them. And I've noticed that my shoes, I'm not talking about my everyday shoes. These are the ones I sort of keep in cubies. Now, when I was working, I wore clogs a lot. Do any of you like clogs? And I used to buy my clogs from Land's End in the States. And so I've got this pair, great color. I'll put that there. And I've probably got more. Let's see if I can get the clogs out. Okay, and I've got a blue pair, which are really pretty clogs, and I've got you've never tried clogs. They're very difficult to walk in, actually. However, I've seen 2 schools of thoughts, Beth, about them. One, that they're very good for your feet, and one that they're very bad for your feet. So it depends whether you which one you want to believe. I want to tell you the quality of Land's End anything is the best I have ever bought, short of going very, very high end. All my winter trousers are all Land's End, and they've lasted me for 20 years, and they still look, they're beginning to lose some color now, but they get washed every week during the winter, but they just, proper French seams on everything. They last really good quality. So these, do you notice that the style is the same? Now, I actually am going to keep these clogs, right? I'm not throwing them out. Why? So I just want to make sure that you understand, why would I not throw them out? Yeah, I really want to say, if you can get Land's End, they are great. Now, this is a pair of black runners. All right? And hi, Sakura. Yes, I want to tell you something, Becca. I'm about halfway through learning how to do that. So these are black runners. Will they go with almost anything in the winter? And are they Land's End? I don't know. I don't know if they were Land's End or not. Let me have a look. They look like they might have been, but I can't see. Huh. All right, time for the glasses. So what I found out is that, yep, they're Land's End. That's why they look so good. When I say they look so good, these are literally 10 or I would think close to 20 years old. Look how they look. Isn't that amazing? So I'm keeping them. Wouldn't you? I mean, black runners will last you all your life. So they're good to keep. But I've got all sorts of things. These can go. I got news for you. My raincoat is a Land's End raincoat, and I've been wearing it for 20 years, and it's still my favorite raincoat of all time. It's like a cowboy duster coat, I think they call it. Anyway, these are going. It's time. So they're going to go in the garbage. So we'll call that the garbage pile. And then I found slippers. Yeah, Land's End, END. Hi, Jonas. Now, I haven't worn these, but I'm sure somebody will find. These make too much noise for me. They flip-flop, flip-flop, but they. Actually, maybe I should try them again. This is where it gets difficult for me. But at the bottom of this pile, I have got pantyhose and knee highs and all sorts of things that I've already got thrown out a whole box of these. So this is where my problem is. I'm down to this sort of crud now. But nothing that won't be. You say tennis shoes. Okay. You just call them. We call them runners. Okay, here we go. Now, again, you say sneakers. All right, so everybody has their own word. This is the funniest thing. One year, Land's End had gingham wedges. How many of you are going, those are cute? So this is my problem in life. Because they were so cute and so comfortable, I bought a second pair. You see, every couple of months, I'd buy another pair. Hang on a second. Yeah, they really are cute, and they look really cute on. And then, guess what? Then I bought another pair. And then the last pair I bought in that series, they weren't gingham, but they went well with jeans. All right, so how many of you think I should throw these out? I actually forgot I had them. Oh, by the way, because they looked so good on, they look really pretty on. I went and bought a red pair. And then, of course, a black pair. So now, apparently, in my life, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of wedges. Now, the funny thing is, I keep coming to summer and thinking I don't have any shoes. I forgot that I had these. How long, by the way, they're all Land's End. How long will they last? That is the thing. How, will they continue to last? What I'm going to do, and some of you will think it's a good idea and some of you won't. I'm keeping them, and if I don't wear any of them, I'm going to put them so I can see that I've got them once I've moved, or I will keep them one more year after I've moved. And then if I haven't worn them in a year, then I will throw them. Yeah, I will donate them all because they're all basically brand new. Now, oops. I also had another pair, and these obviously I wore a lot. So you check it out, Beth. I can't tell you. I really never went to Land's End for tennis shoes. That's not. Well, they're black ones. Yes, they had black ones. I thought those gingham ones were wonderful, and they looked so cute in the summer. They really look great with white, white cotton trousers. They really finish off an outfit. Now, these, quite honestly, have had enough. So these are going to go. And the other thing I found was a pair of black leather slippers. Now, the reason I had these, and they're not Land's End, I don't think, but the reason I had these is that I always kept a pair like this in my office in case I broke a heel or something at work, that I would always have something I could literally slip on and have shoes. Does that make sense? And obviously these shoes should not be sitting in a cubie because I forget I own them, and they are brand new. Another pair of maybe the same pair of slippers. And then, as I said, the rest of it is all rubbishy stuff. Amazing. So what I wanted to ask you is, does anybody else have shoes carefully put away that they forgot they own? Or am I the only one that put them away so carefully I forgot I even owned them? And I've got other shoes. But the reason I actually wanted to show you those, do you notice that if I see a shoe that fits me and is comfortable, I will buy more than one of them? And the clogs, all right? They obviously were comfortable because I bought 3 pairs of them. All I did is every couple of months, I'd buy a different color. So to me, the same thing with my collection of winter trousers. I found a style that really fitted me well. And what I did was every season I'd wait for them to go on sale. And do you know that I could buy Land's End beautiful winter pants for like about 10 or $15. And really, I'm still wearing them 20 years later. They're so well made. Yes, so you see, I'm not a big shoe person, I thought, until I found these, and I went, yeah, I'd forgotten I even had them. So we're now going into summer, but how much do you think I will wear them? How much do I go out? But I do know one thing, that I have been going out with paint-covered flip-flops because I couldn't find any shoes. Now I know why. So I'm really happy to have found them. However, I've got 2 cubies that will now be emptied today or tomorrow, and I've got 2.5. Actually, yeah, I think about 2.5 cubies of shoes that will be left. So that was really interesting to do. I want to tell you that I'm getting to the stage where I'm really doing quite well. I was saying on the broadcast on Friday that the rooms are beginning to echo a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I've taken the carpets up, the rugs that I had, except for the one under my dining room table, because my dining room table is a rock. And you guys have seen that, right? So, my dining room table glass is held up by two pieces of rock, and my side tables are also made that way. And so I don't want that rock um, because it's carrying the weight of the glass table. I want to tell you, this glass tabletop weighs a lot. We were talking on Friday, and I thought I'd mention it again because we got some other people back in here now. We were talking on Friday about a very interesting topic, and I want to just make sure that you all hear it and know about it. And that was, if you think about where you live today, if you had to give up one room in your home, whatever your home is, whether it's an apartment or whatever, if you had to give up one room in your home, which room would you be willing to give up? I want to tell you, Jonas, that is, I just got to read that out, people, for those watching the replay. He says, this grinds my gears. When I go shopping and they don't have my size, they ask me, would you like to try another size? Yeah, why would I even want to try a size that doesn't fit me? I agree. Except sometimes the size that isn't your size fits you better because it's a bit like clothes, Jonas. Um, and bras in my case, just because it says it's that size doesn't mean it's that size. That grinds my gears a lot. Sometimes I find, for example, with some shoes, I take one size, and in other shoes, I take a bigger size. But I understand your point, and I'm sure you're not the only one that has that intelligent question asked of them. Would you like to try another size? Yeah, right. Why would I buy a size that doesn't fit me? How many of you have noticed that if you put on weight, your shoe size changes? And it's interesting, Becca's saying that her vice is not shoes, her vice is purses. And it's interesting because I really don't have that many purses, but I do have shoes. Yes, so Jody, I would think that your shoe size must have escalated hysterically when you got lymphedema. So what size shoes, how many sizes up did you need to go to be able to get a shoe that you could get into? Can I ask you that? Yes. Now, you know, Sakura's saying that she's been thinking about this giving up a room. And she was saying, could I give up my second bedroom and dining room? The thing that we found out was almost everybody said they would give up their dining room. And, I was looking in my big house, and I've got, on this level alone, I've got about 1,200 square feet, I would think, just on this level. I have got a dining room that I hardly ever use except to do the broadcasts. I have a living room that I hardly ever use. I have a bedroom that I use as an art studio, which I use a lot. And I have another bedroom that is my craft room. Hey, Becca, got to show you. I made these little doodads for my pendants. Aren't they cute? So I cut that out on my silhouette. I thought they were really cute. So my craft room, definitely. But could I have one room that is craft and paint? Yeah. Hang on, let me show you another one. See, Becca? Whoops. Here's another one. They're cute, huh? So it really sort of shows off the pendant. So I was really happy to have got that template and being able to make it work. Takes a little bit of practice. This was my first one. Please notice the ragged edges. But I just wanted to show you that's how I started. It wasn't so good on the first one, but I got it better I changed the settings a bit. It does look like tiger's eye, doesn't it? Yes, it's funny you should say that. Right. So Jodie's saying that with her lymphoderma, she can't even wear shoes anymore. All right. That her feet have swollen so much. Um, so she can only wear slippers. She said that when she could still wear shoes, um, she had to go up 4 sizes to get the width that she needed. So here is my question, that how much money, and I think that's where the tiny house movement is making such inroads. People are beginning to realize how many of your rooms are there for other people. In other words, I have this formal dining room and I have this formal living room, but really, I spend most of my time in my bedroom. Um, my computer is there. I've got a bed that turns into the back comes up and the feet come up and everything, so I can get it into a really comfortable position to use the computer there. So I spend most of my time in my bedroom. And my second most used room, I think that's what I'd ask you to do, is have a look at the rooms that you have and say to yourself, how much do I actually use them? And if I was not broadcasting, my dining room would probably not be used a great deal, except what I love about it is it's a huge glass table. And if you are doing any sort of a project, there's nothing better than a glass table, because you can drop stuff on it and you can clean it off and it doesn't ruin the table. So I would probably try and keep my big glass table. Yeah. So, Jody, I was thinking that you can't be the only one who has this problem. And I was wondering if you couldn't speak to a creative person, right? My Uggs. I haven't got them up here. They're downstairs already now. But I've got that pair of knitted Uggs. I still think that you should draw out the shape of your feet at the moment, all right? And then have Lionel cut you out um, either some thick rubber or whatever. And then, see if you can't make a pair of boots type shape that you can just pull on. That they're not slippers, they actually look like boots ready for the wet and cold weather coming up later. And you could do that with, yeah, Jody, but you understand what I'm saying. You can either be a victim to it, or do you know anybody who's really good at knitting? And I would I would take this to my church group of, handy knitting people and go, this is my problem. I need to have knitted tops to this. All right. And, I'm pretty sure that anybody who's really good with a pair of crocheting or whatever could do that for you. Especially if you gave them the measurements and whether you wanted them to be soft or hard. But the thing that I'm hearing is the most important thing for you is that it stretches, because your feet your legs keep swelling and then dropping a bit and swelling. And I'm thinking that's why knitted would be a good idea, because the knitting would stretch. Do you get what I'm saying, Jody? It must be forgiving in the width, exactly. And so that's why I would start with what is, when I stand flat on, if I can still stand flat on the floor, get Lionel to actually trace that out. And this is where I need a solid base. And I'm trying to think what you could make it out of, there must be so many. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? Almost, it's like that rubbery stuff that they make the children's. They fit together like jigsaw puzzle mats for children to play on, and they're sort of foamy. I'm going. That would work. It's foam about that thick. And that would also give you a little bit of cushioning. And I'd probably put memory foam on top of that, and then make the rest of it. But I don't know. I've got a feeling that this is doable. And the other thing is, you're not the only one with the problem. Therefore, there's a market for them. Think about that. They make shoes like that. Thank you. Lymphodermaproducts.com. That's what a good idea. Yes, and that's why I'm saying that if you know anybody that's handy with a pair of needles or a crochet hook, they could, they could probably do it for you. But what you need is that base size at the bottom. That's what you need to be able to send somebody. Well, you see, I think the thing is this, Jody, how many pairs of shoes do you need? You probably only would need one pair because you don't get out that much anymore, right? And so it's just a pair that you can get out when you need to go to the doctor or the specialist or whatever, right? So to me, it's like you haven't got to buy 10 pairs of them. And how much would it be better for you? So start saving now, ready for the winter, and then treat yourself to them for the winter this year. So you're not going out wearing plastic bags or whatever you were doing last year. Right? Because you deserve a pair of shoes. Put them on your wish list for your birthdays or Christmas or whatever. Yes, save now to get that pair. It's really important for you, Jody, because you are going to be doing and the weather where you are is just, I think you're worth it. Yes, I agree, Beth. I would say more important for you in some ways than a lot of other things. So how do we convince you that this is worth? How far is the saving gone on this? I would have a special jar that you just keep putting your change into and whatever. The easiest way somebody taught me, and it's interesting. In Canada, I know you don't have it in the States, but in Canada, we have a toonie. It's a $2 coin. And that is the best coin it's the best coin to keep because it adds up quickly. All right, so you are a third of the way there, just about. Well done. All right, and so this is, Jody, what you're doing is you're telling people the same thing I was saying. Like I was saying, my shoe collection, I didn't buy them all in 1 year. I found a style that I liked. It stayed in style because it's a classical style. Do you understand that? And therefore, every year I'd buy another one or two if I, felt like it. The same with my pants. Every year I'd wait till the end of the winter to see what pants were on sale, and I knew the one I wanted. And if that was on sale, I'd buy a couple of pairs at $10 each instead of 50 or 75 or whatever it was. And so that way I built up a collection of them. And I think what happens is that we get so caught up with the instant gratification, we forget to do what Jody's doing, which is actually saving up for what we want. I'm very proud of you, Jody. But do make sure that you keep saying to yourself, yes, I would like this, but I am saving for those shoes, and those shoes are a priority. Therefore, I'm going to not spend this $5 here, but I'm going to put $5 in the jar. Yes. By the way, if we get close to the winter coming and you haven't made it, let me know and we'll put out a word and see if we can top it up for you. All right? And just keep letting us know how the savings plan. We'll keep track of that one. So this whole conversation about which rooms in your house do you use the most, people? And the other question is, do you only use the bottom third? Because that is the other thing that hi, little green, welcome. That is the other thing that I really want you to be aware of. And that is part of the joy of having cubies and bookcases and stuff like that is because what happens is you can have things going higher up your walls. And seriously, how organized does it become? And how much can you keep in probably half the space? Is this Emma? Wow, this is Irish Emma, right? Little green, the leprechaun. Where else would it be? All right, so welcome. So glad to hear from you. Do you have any? No, not Ohio Emma. It's Irish Emma. All right, so Beth converted her extra bedroom to her computer room. I took one bedroom, turned it into my art studio, and my second one still has a bed in it, but it's my craft room because I found that the craft room stayed tidier than my art room. Makes sense. However, if I downsize to just one bedroom, you know, how am I going to live my life? I'm not going to have a dining room. That's for sure. Whatever is meant to be a dining area will be my craft stroke art area. And then what I will need to do is to have screens. How many of you going, yeah, it'd be really nice to just pull a curtain and close it off if it's all open plan? Or have, those Japanese screens that you can make and go, okay, fine, let me cover that. How's my health? My health is doing so much better since I got the sleep apnea machine, without a doubt. The only thing at the moment, I'm really struggling with allergies, even though I'm on antihistamines. And the reason I am is because I've started doing some serious work now downstairs in some areas that are very storage room type places and the garage, and they are full of cobwebs and dust and stuff like that. So it's getting very difficult. But I probably am about at least 2/3 done upstairs. And on Wednesday, my realtor's coming, and then we'll have a serious conversation about how close. I just have to make a decision, Emma, as to whether I want to fix the things that need to get fixed or whether I want to sell the house with all the problems that I see. Do you understand? And take the hit on the money side. And that is the discussion that I need to have and to see how big a hit that would be. Yes. Beth, I'm certain that you are not the only person whose children left home who went, wow, we get an extra room. And how quickly did they fill it up, right? What did you turn her bedroom into, as a matter of interest? I find that really interesting. And that's what started me talking about this because part of the art group that I'm part of, they were talking about how many of them decided not to have a formal dining room anymore and turn their formal dining room into an art area. Yeah, you see, the difference is, and I think that is the difference, Emma, and it's very important that people realize that if your whole reason for being is your children, and that's how you lived your life for the last 20 years, then of course, the it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult for any parent. But what happens is it's not healthy for us to just live for our children. The same thing as, you should not have to leave your children a nest egg, right? I worked with a lawyer once who always said to everybody, um, I always say to people, he used to say to people, live your life and spend it all. Do not save it for your children. Enjoy it. You worked hard for it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so there's part of me that goes, for so many of us are going, well, I'd really like to be able to do this and do that. Yeah, I think it's a great quote. Enjoy your life, spend it all. In fact, if you can get away with it, die in debt if you have to, right? with nobody responsible for repaying it. That's not a very good thing to say, but that was the sort of like. Yeah. So what you did, Beth, is you turned it into a functional room. You see, I think this is the difference, I think, and that's what I want you all to think about. 50 years ago, we really did entertain a lot at home, right? How many of you can remember? Well, you probably too young, some of you, but we used to entertain a lot at home. Today, people don't do that so much. Um, Today we are into our own stuff a lot more. Our homes are not really used for entertaining the way that they were. Maybe you do Christmas or New Year or whatever. But today we people are looking at having smaller places but making them more functional. And part of what I'm going to do, and I might even go and do it next week, is to go and see if I can see the biggest fifth wheel they've got, that has an extra room on it. You've seen them where they carry what they call toy haulers, where you can put a bike in the back or whatever. And what I'm looking for is, have they got one that's got a room big enough that I could turn into a art room? But I still have to think about where would I put all my stuff because, hi, Pat, you've got a big green banner. I don't know what you pressed. Oh, you mean the turquoise one? Yes, it's Jody. Jody made a contribution to the broadcast. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. So yes, it's Jody's donation. That's why it goes up like that. And for any of you, by the way, there are two ways to support what we do, just so that you know. Either you can support it with a small donation, which helps me pay for the websites and everything else that goes on. It actually costs way more than you think. And the other way is to actually, whenever you see any of my videos, underneath there are different links to Amazon. If ever you want to buy anything from Amazon and you go in through one of my links, you don't have to buy anything that's my stuff. If you buy anything there, then I get a credit for it, a small amount. So that's a way, if you haven't got money, to help me do this, but in a different way. So, Pat, you're saying that you just bought a new one with a room in the back. Was it a bunk room or what was it? Tell me the one you bought. Because that's what I'm seriously thinking of doing. It may be my one option. Yes, that's what I'm saying, that they are so fancy these days. Right, it has a fireplace and they have beautiful kitchens and yeah, it has a bunk room. Okay. So I was thinking, Pat, I could turn the bunk room into an art studio, a mobile art studio. So, but now you've got to find somewhere to park it, right? And so, did you get a new one or a secondhand one? I think I'm going to treat myself to a field trip and go and have a look. It's a travel trailer with a bunk room at the back. Okay. How many feet long? Yes. And when I look at it, Pat, my home is 40 foot wide, I think, 46 maybe. So I'm going, could I live in that space? It would mean I'd have to buy a new truck. So I think I should go and look, right, Pat? It's either that, you see, here's my point. If I've got to buy, yes, I like the idea of a fifth wheel because somehow or other that is easier in a lot of ways. No, that's okay, Jody. So I want to have a look because I just found, for example, this is the scary part. I just found a manufactured home, like a big mobile home, double wide, on its own land. Okay, and it's like really not a lot of space beside you, and they wanted 386,000, and it hasn't been upgraded. It's still 30 years old. You know what I mean? Inside. So I'm going, wait a minute. You know, that is insane to spend that much money. Mind you, you would own the land. But, I'm going, you'd need to spend a lot of money to get it what I call livable, right? So you probably have to spend another 50,000 on it. So, I'm going, why don't I just go and get myself a fifth wheel? And I'm looking at, okay, so Becca, if you look where it says, underneath here where it says say something and you type in your comment, below that there is a dollar icon. That is the super chat. And when you press that, it gives you the option to donate. And if you donate, then your comments will be highlighted on the stream. All right, as a super chat person. And so that's, what that little dollar sign is. And by the way, it's got a little slider bar underneath it so you can donate however much or little you want to. No, it's not for super moderators. It's for super kind people who support the channel, like patrons. Yeah, it's for anybody. Just for people who have found the broadcasts helpful. Now, for those of you and I was thinking here, for those of you who know Linda in the UK, we've seen some really amazing changes in her recently. And I just wanted to let you know that because she really has grown so much since the time that we first met her. And I just think it's so wonderful to be able to watch that happen. Um, and who else have we heard from recently? Anyway, so Emma, you asked about my health. I want to tell you about the best thing I did for myself was to go and get that CPAP machine. Um, it was a big investment for me, but I am sleeping so much better. I am dreaming again. I don't know if you can see it in my face, but the stress has really helped. It's really gone down. I'm able to take stress a lot better than I was. I'm noticing it all over the place. I still get stressed because what I'm doing is very stressful. But the interesting thing is I'm, not holding it at all. I'm managing to get control of it fairly easily. I think the most difficult thing at the moment, Emma, is to do things at my speed, not at everybody else's. In other words, I know my realtor would like me to get this house on the market by next week, and I don't want to do that. It's like too much stress for me. I really, and I realize I don't have to. It's my choice, right? I can spend another year doing this and run out of money if necessary. But this has to go at the speed that doesn't overtax me. Otherwise, I will just get ill and then, I won't do anything. So I just have a challenge, which is every day, I pack up so many more boxes. And I'm nearly, as I said, I'm 3/4 of the way probably through what I have to clean up now. Now, I did have a question for you. Becca, in terms of Liz, she's doing fine, the last I heard. She was in not so long ago, and she was, quite happy. The only reason, Beth, that he would do anything about that is, you see, he can't hear himself snore. You understand that, right? So perhaps, and we know that nagging him is not going to make that difference. Perhaps tell him positive stories. Just say, wow. Um, Sal didn't realize how much damage she was doing to her organs. And by the way, my attitude is if my husband snored that much that I couldn't sleep, I wouldn't be in the room with him. This is called, if you want to snore like that and not get it seen to, find somewhere else to sleep, like the living room, because, I don't think that is fair. No, because mine actually puts moisture in all the time, Beth. Did he not have one that was pushing moisture in at the same time? Yes, Pat, you have to make it worth their while, right? This is called, you don't have to get a CPAP back again, but just do me a favor, go sleep somewhere else. I love you dearly, but I deserve to get some sleep, especially now that you're going to be working. Beth, when do you start the job? On Monday? Tomorrow? It's not a pretty thing, Beth. I will say that. You do look a bit like Darth Vader. But the thing that I will tell you is I can definitely tell you I can feel the difference. Yes, they've got and you actually put in a sort of chamber that you put in that has distilled water. It has to be distilled water. And then you put it in and it heats it slightly so that right. The nasal, I find as well, I've got one of those Vicks inhalers. It looks a bit like a lipstick, and before I go put on my mask, I always clear my, I always take my Vicks inhaler and make sure I've got. Wow, Beth, that was not your brightest idea. Yeah, I think he, maybe wants to have a look at the new ones. The one I have, by the way, the one that I have is very quiet. I've heard people say, "Oh, I would have used it, but it was so noisy." The one I've got is so quiet. Um, and it's really, I think it was the best thing I did for myself this year. Now, the other thing is, it really does make you aware of how much or how little sleep you get. The other thing that I have found is that I wear mine for about an hour before I plan to go to sleep, because I find that having that air pushed into your system actually makes you breathe better. So I use it as part of my regimen to go to sleep. Yes, if it's leaking, it would be noisy, and also if the chamber isn't put in properly. I did that one night too. I'm going, why is that so noisy? And it took me about 3 hours to realize I put the chamber in, but it hadn't connected right the way in. Which is like, okay, fine. Now I know why. But I really have to say it was definitely one of the best things I did for me. Now, we're nearly time to go, just in case anybody wants to know on the menu tonight, because you normally want to know what I'm cooking. I am doing shrimp fettuccine with a rose cream sauce. You know what I mean? It's like not a dark red sauce. It's like a pink sauce, creamy sauce. So it's sort of, I think they call it rosé sauce. And I'm doing that. I've got extra vegetables that I've cooked up that are going to go in with it. And the shrimp are already in the fridge. I took them out, defrosted them. They're in the thing with some fresh mushrooms that will go in at the last minute as well. Yeah, that rose cream sauce is really nice. I love it. And so it'll have a lot of black pepper on it, and it will, it's just nice comfort food. It's a rainy day here today, so I thought that would make a nice comfort food for a change. And helping me clean out my freezers. I'm getting there slowly. It's amazing how much I have in my freezers, but I'm getting there. I'm trying very hard. One of the most difficult things for me is don't freeze anything else. So, what's shrimp? Shrimp. Yeah, exactly. So we'll do the fettuccine, and then I will put the sauce over it, and then put the shrimp on top of that. Yeah, I found the shrimp. By the way, for those of you who heard that I lost my, you when you're packing, the worst thing to lose is your big tape gun, and I lost mine. I thought I'd packed it in a box. And then I went down into the trailer to go and do something, and there it was. Remember that weekend I was going to take the trailer out? I already had it in the trailer, because I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's amazing how many things can go wrong. We're having a tape gun that you can put your, what do you call it, duct tape or whatever on. It's really easy. So I always try and take my tape gun with me when I'm in the trailer. So I actually think on Thursday I might do a field trip, or maybe. Yeah, do you not know what that is, Becca? Okay, hold on. Okay, this is a tape gun. And what it does is it dispenses tape. Hang on a second. Basically, it dispenses tape normally. Sorry, this has got bunged up for some reason. There we go. All right, so you dispense tape like that, and then you cut it like that. Okay, it's called a tape gun. If ever anybody's moved, they know about them. All right, so I'm off to go and cook shrimp. And so remember, put your earrings in little baggies. It'll stop them oxidizing. Remember, if you want to, you can make your own house smell really nice. I'm going to go and find, now I can't believe, I actually obviously need to go and find both a travel trailer that has a bunk room or a fifth wheel with a bunk room. Okay. So everybody, I love you dearly. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your support in terms of actually doing this downsizing. I hope that some of you are learning a little bit along the way. I've certainly learned a lot. I have to say that. So have a super week. Beth, I'm hoping that your badge gets there in the next week or so. All right. Let me know when it gets to you, just so that I can relax a bit. Everybody, have a super time. Remember to look after one another, but most of all, of course, remember to look after yourself. And keep asking yourself, am I using my home for my benefit or for other people's? And if so, how much? I know people who could get rid of a storage locker if they just use their houses better. All right, everybody. Big hugs. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.